All right, so today we're diving into this 4% thing.
Hmm.
You guys have sent in some pretty interesting stuff about it,
Yeah.
like your website and like testimonials and some stuff about their community. And honestly, I gotta say I'm kind of intrigued already.
Yeah.
It's like from what I'm seeing, it seems like a roadmap or something for
Yeah.
people who want to build like an online business and achieve like financial freedom and all that.
Yeah, and you know what really strikes me is just like how 4% like positions itself,
Yeah.
they're not just offering a course or a tool, they're like selling this whole ecosystem, like a whole system to guide you every step of the way.
That's totally what caught my eye too. Like they talk about eliminating all the confusion and overwhelm
Mm-hmm.
and being like the guide that you need
Yeah.
in this like crazy world of online business.
Yeah.
And they even say they can help you get results fast. That's a pretty bold claim.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's probably going to resonate with people who are feeling kind of lost, or impatient. Maybe they're tired of the 9 to 5 grind.
Yeah.
But it also kind of raises a question, like, can you really achieve significant results that quickly in the online business world?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think it's good to balance that enthusiasm with a bit of reality. Building a business takes time and effort no matter what system you use.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive into like the specifics and see what 4% actually like offers.
Okay, so from the website copy, it seems like their core promise is about providing a clear path to success, like taking away the guesswork and overwhelm that a lot of new entrepreneurs face.
Okay, so it's less figure it out yourself and more like
Yeah.
follow our proven system.
Right.
But what does that actually look like?
Well, they highlight a few key things. First, they've got this stunning online e-learning experience. That's how they put it, at least. And this seems to be like their main training hub with like courses and resources and stuff, covering everything from like mindset to marketing to specific business models even.
Wow, that sounds pretty comprehensive. But like, there's so much online learning stuff out there these days. What makes their approach like different or unique?
Well, they emphasize this structured step-by-step system called 7 Steps to Freedom. And it's all laid out in like a video guide,
Mm.
which seems like they're really trying to make the learning process as clear and engaging as possible.
So it's not just like random courses. It's like a curated path.
Yeah, like to take you from A to B.
That could be really appealing to people who are new
Right.
to online business and they don't know where to start.
Exactly. And they also really highlight mindset. They even have a program called Mental Reprogramming for Success.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's all about developing the right beliefs and attitudes and habits, like the habits of successful entrepreneurs.
That's really interesting. It suggests that they get it.
Yeah.
Like that success isn't just about strategy and tactics. It's also about having like the right mental game.
Exactly. Your mindset shapes your actions and your resilience
Mhm.
and ultimately your results.
Okay, so we've got the e-learning platform and the mindset program. What else is in this 4% ecosystem?
Well, they also have this proprietary social network, but it's only for members.
Huh.
Yeah, it seems to be like a big part of their community building, so members can connect with each other and share experiences and just get support from each other.
That makes sense. I mean, building a business can be pretty lonely,
Yeah,
especially when you're online. So having like a community of people who get it could be huge.
huge, yeah. And they also offer a website builder platform.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's supposed to like simplify all the technical stuff of like
Yeah.
creating a website and having a presence online.
So they're trying to remove like those tech barriers that
Yeah.
could trip up new entrepreneurs.
Exactly. It's like they're saying you don't need to know how to code to build a successful online business. Exactly.
You want to create this seamless experience
Right.
where you have all the tools and resources you need right there in their ecosystem.
And speaking of like motivation and inspiration, you mentioned testimonials earlier. What kind of stories are they sharing?
Oh, they picked a really diverse range of stories, to highlight different backgrounds and aspirations.
Okay.
So, for example, there's Vlad. He built this really successful digital marketing agency.
Mm.
And then there's Velvi. She's all about empowering women entrepreneurs.
Interesting.
Then there's Sid's. He's figured out how to balance being a dad with
Wow.
running his own business.
Wow.
And then there's Aaron. He like escaped the corporate world to live life on his own terms.
So quite a mix.
Yeah.
Seems like they're trying to show potential members that no matter who you are or what you want, 4% can help you get there.
Exactly. They're using storytelling to make that dream of freedom feel relatable and attainable.
Yeah, no matter where you're starting from.
One thing that really jumps out at me is how much they emphasize community. It's like everywhere in their materials.
Yeah.
They're really selling that feeling of belonging, like being part of something bigger.
And it's a smart move because for a lot of people, starting and running a business can be isolating.
Yeah.
So 4% is tapping into that need for connection, for
Mm.
shared experience, and for like a sense of purpose even.
Yeah, it's like you're saying, you're not alone in this journey. We're all in this together.
Exactly. And that can be really powerful, especially when you're facing those inevitable challenges of entrepreneurship.
So we've got this structured learning platform, this
Mhm.
focus on mindset, a supportive community, and tools to make the tech stuff easier. It sounds like a pretty comprehensive package.
It really does. But like with any program that makes big promises, it's important to be a little critical, you know?
Right. We don't want to get swept up in the hype without looking at the potential downsides too.
Yeah.
So I think we should shift our focus to that. In the next part of our deep dive,
Okay, sounds good. So we've kind of laid out the 4% like framework, their structured approach, you know, the learning platform, the whole community aspect, and the tools to simplify like the technical side of things. But maybe we should take a step back and look at the bigger picture for a second.
okay, let's zoom out a bit. What are some of the potential downsides or things to watch out for?
Well, one thing that kind of jumps out at me is the potential for information overload.
Oh, yeah.
They give you a lot of resources, like their e-learning platform
Yeah.
and the social network. And they even have weekly live events.
Wow. Yeah, they're not exactly minimalist, are they? Could that be overwhelming for some people, especially people who are already busy?
Totally. It's great to have options, but too much information can lead to analysis paralysis. You know, that feeling of constantly being on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's important to know yourself, like your own capacity and learning style. If you thrive on structure and clear guidance, their system might be a good fit. But if you prefer to learn independently at your own pace, it could feel way too overwhelming.
Right. And it's also worth thinking about groupthink, you know, within a tightly knit community.
Oh, that's a good point. They really push the community aspect,
Yeah.
which can be great for support and motivation. But is there a risk that everyone just agrees with each other and they don't question things critically enough?
It's definitely possible. I mean, in any community, especially one built around a specific system, there's a risk of echo chambers forming.
Yeah, where different views aren't really welcomed.
Exactly.
So it's important to think for yourself and be willing to question things, even if everyone around you seems to be on board.
Absolutely. And another thing to keep in mind is the potential for dependence on the 4% platform and their specific tools.
You're talking about their website builder, right?
Yeah.
What are the potential drawbacks of relying on their technology?
Well, it could limit your flexibility in the long run.
Okay.
You know, like your customization options.
Mhm.
You're basically stuck in their ecosystem,
Right.
which might not be the best as your business grows and your needs change.
So their website builder might be great for getting started, but you have to think about whether it will still work for you later on.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the marketing. They use a lot of strong language, like talking about breakthroughs and risk-free guarantees, and they always emphasize getting results fast.
Yeah, their marketing definitely grabs your attention, but we have to remember that marketing is designed to sell.
Right.
It's often about appealing to our emotions
Right.
rather than giving us like a totally objective view.
Exactly. So it's important to read between the lines and look for actual proof.
Like what kind of proof?
Well, for example, look for case studies, you know, that show how their system has actually worked for people, not just testimonials from a few people they chose.
Right. Anyone can pick and choose the best stories.
Exactly.
It's more meaningful to see a wider range of results.
For sure. And pay attention to how they define success. Is it all about making money? Or do they also care about things like work-life balance? Or personal fulfillment? Or ethical business practices?
That's a really important point. Success means different things to different people.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you're aligned with a program that shares your values and your definition of success.
Absolutely. And speaking of values, think about whether their focus on getting results fast really aligns with your approach to business.
Oh, that's an interesting angle. What do you mean?
Well, some people are naturally drawn to quick wins and fast growth,
Right.
but others prefer a more slow and steady approach.
So it's about understanding your own personality and what feels sustainable for you over the long term.
Exactly. If you value patience and building a solid foundation and making decisions carefully, their focus on speed might not be the best fit.
So we've talked about some potential downsides: information overload, the risk of groupthink, dependence on their platform, and the need to be critical of their marketing. It's important to weigh these things carefully. along with the potential benefits.
Absolutely. You have to make an informed decision. That works for your own needs and goals and values.
We talked about their community earlier, but it seems like that's such a big part of their program that maybe it deserves a deeper look.
Yeah.
What are the specific benefits and drawbacks of being part of such a close-knit community?
That's a great point. I think one of the biggest benefits of a strong community is support and the feeling of belonging.
Especially for entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
who often work alone
Yeah,
and face a lot of challenges.
for sure.
Having a group of people who understand what you're going through can be so valuable.
It's like having a built-in support system, like a group of cheerleaders who want you to succeed and who can offer advice and encouragement when you need it.
Yeah, and that shared experience and sense of purpose can be really motivating too.
Definitely.
When you see people around you taking action and getting results, it can push you to do more than you thought possible.
Absolutely. And community can also provide accountability.
Oh yeah, how so?
Well, when you know that other people are watching your progress and expecting you to show up, it can be easier to stay focused and avoid procrastination.
It's like having a group of accountability partners who are all invested in your success.
Exactly.
But you mentioned earlier that close communities can
Mhm.
sometimes lead to groupthink or echo chambers.
Right.
How can we avoid that?
Well, it's important to remember that even within a supportive community, it's healthy to think for yourself and be willing to question assumptions.
So don't just accept everything you hear,
Yeah,
even if it's coming from people you respect.
exactly. And it's also important to get different perspectives, from outside the community.
Okay.
Read books and articles from different authors, connect with people who have different views, expose yourself to a wider range of ideas.
So it's about finding a balance
Yeah.
between belonging to a supportive community
Mm-hmm.
or keeping your own independence.
Exactly. And it's also important to be aware of social pressure.
Social pressure. What do you mean?
Well, when everyone around you is talking about a certain strategy or promoting a certain product, it can be easy to feel like you need to do the same, even if it doesn't feel right for you.
So you have to stay true to yourself
Yes.
and make decisions that are right for you, even if it means doing something different.
Exactly. And it's also worth considering burnout.
Burnout.
Hmm.
How does that relate to community?
Well, when you're constantly surrounded by people who are hustling and always striving for success, it can create a lot of pressure to do the same.
So it's important to set boundaries
Hmm.
and protect your time and energy.
Exactly. It's okay to take breaks, to disconnect from the community when you need to, and just focus on taking care of yourself.
That's a good reminder. So we've explored the benefits and drawbacks of community. It seems like community can be a really powerful thing, but it's also important to be aware of the potential downsides and to make choices that are right for you.
Exactly. It's about finding the right balance between connection and autonomy, between support and independence.
Now, before we wrap up, let's shift back to 4%'s core offerings. They talk a lot about their 7 Steps to Freedom video guide. What have you learned about this system?
Well, from what I've seen, it's very structured and linear. It's a very step-by-step approach to building an online business. They basically give you a roadmap to follow.
So it's like paint by numbers for entrepreneurship.
In a way, yeah. They say they eliminate confusion and overwhelm by giving you a clear path and specific instructions.
That might be appealing to people who like structure and certainty, but does it leave any room for creativity or for doing things your own way?
That's a good question. Their system might provide a good foundation, but it's not clear how much flexibility you have to adapt it to your own skills and interests.
So it could be great for getting started, but it might feel limiting as your business grows
Right.
and as your vision changes.
Exactly. You need to think about whether their system fits with your own style and your long-term goals.
And they also really emphasize their mental reprogramming for success program. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's great that they acknowledge the importance of mindset and personal development. For success as an entrepreneur, our beliefs and attitudes and habits have a huge impact on our actions and results.
So it's not just about learning the skills. It's about developing the right mental game.
Exactly.
But is it really possible to reprogram your brain for success?
Well, our brains are amazingly adaptable.
Yeah.
And neuroplasticity is a real thing. It's the brain's ability to change and rewire itself.
Right.
So in that sense, mental reprogramming is definitely possible.
But it's not like magic, right?
No.
It takes effort and practice and consistency to change your thinking and your behavior.
Exactly. It's about building new habits, challenging those limiting beliefs, and developing a more positive and successful mindset.
And it sounds like 4% gives you specific tools and exercises to help you do that.
Yeah, they seem to be using principles from psychology and personal development and
And
coaching.
interesting. So they're not just teaching business skill. They're also addressing the inner game of entrepreneurship.
Exactly. And I think that's so important for success in any field, but especially for entrepreneurs who are always facing challenges and setbacks.
Okay, so we've looked at their core offerings, their community, and some potential downsides. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, their marketing.
Yeah, good point. Their marketing is definitely something we need to unpack.
They use a lot of persuasive language and make big promises about fast results. How can our listener look at their marketing critically?
Well, first of all, remember that marketing is designed to sell, not to give you a completely objective view.
Right, it's like looking at those perfect photos of a house for sale. You only see the best parts,
Exactly.
not the leaky faucet or the cracks in the foundation.
So you have to read between the lines and look for real evidence to back up their claims.
Like what kind of evidence?
We'll look for detailed case studies that show how their system has worked for other people, not just a few testimonials.
Right, it's easy to cherry pick the best stories.
Exactly.
It's more meaningful to see a wider range of results.
Absolutely. And pay attention to their language. Are they focusing on speed over sustainability? Are they promising easy success?
Yeah, those are red flags.
Building a successful business takes time and effort, and a willingness to learn and adapt. No program can guarantee overnight success or eliminate all the challenges.
So be realistic about what to expect.
Yeah.
And be careful of any program that makes promises. That sounds too good to be true.
Exactly. And it's also a good idea to do some research beyond their website.
Like what?
Look for reviews from people who have actually used their program.
Okay.
See what they say about their experience, both the good and the bad.
So get a more balanced perspective.
Right. And do some research on the founders of 4%.
Mm-hmm.
Look at their background, their experience, their track record. See if their values align with yours. And if you feel comfortable trusting them.
So do your homework, like you would with any other big investment.
Exactly. And lastly, trust your gut. If something feels off or too good to be true, it probably is.
That's a great advice. Our intuition is often right.
Absolutely. And remember, there's no one right answer. The best decision is the one that works for you, for your goals and values and aspirations.
Okay, we've covered a lot today. We've explored 4% inside and out, their structured approach, their comprehensive resources, their supportive community, and their persuasive marketing. We've also talked about some potential downsides and encouraged you to think critically. Now it's time to bring it all together and help our listener make a decision.
Yeah, we've given you a lot of information, but ultimately the choice is yours.
So let's wrap up with some final thoughts and some guidance. Okay, so we've really gone deep with this 4% thing. We've seen their system, their community, their marketing. We've even given you guys some tools to think critically about any online business program. So now for the big question.
Yeah, is 4% the right fit for you, for your own entrepreneurial journey?
Right, because there are tons of programs out there
Right.
promising to help you build a business and get that freedom. So what makes 4% stand out?
Well, one thing is their focus on structure and guidance. They give you this very specific roadmap, the 7 steps to freedom. It's all about taking the guesswork out of the process.
Yeah, that could be huge for someone who's feeling lost or just overwhelmed, not knowing where to even begin.
Absolutely. Having a clear plan, a step-by-step system can make it way less intimidating. And their community seems like a big draw, too.
For sure, they talk about it constantly, that feeling of belonging, being part of a group of people who get it.
Exactly. And for a lot of people, that sense of community can be super motivating and supportive, especially in the online business world, where it's easy to feel isolated.
But we also have to be real about the downsides. We talked about information overload, the potential for groupthink, and being careful with their marketing.
Right. You have to go in with open eyes, understanding both the pros and the cons.
So let's get to the bottom line. If you're listening to this and thinking about 4%, what are the key questions to ask yourself?
Okay, here's what I'd suggest. First, does this program actually align with your vision of success as an entrepreneur? Like, what does freedom look like to you specifically?
Good question.
Second, do you connect with their philosophy and their approach to business? Does their style of teaching and the community vibe feel right for you? Third, are you actually ready to commit? The time, the energy, the resources, because it will take work, even with the best support system.
Sure.
And, maybe most importantly, what does your gut tell you? deep down, does this feel right?
Yeah, that inner voice is usually pretty smart.
If something feels off or too good to be true, it probably is.
Trust your gut.
Exactly, at the end of the day. This is your journey. Your path to freedom might be different from everyone else's, and that's totally okay.
So you've heard all about 4%, the good, the bad, the whole picture. You've learned how to think critically about these programs and make choices that empower you. The choice is yours.
If you're feeling that spark and you're ready to explore 4%, click the button below, enter your name and email, and join the community.
It's your journey, your future. Take that first step and see where it leads. And no matter what path you choose, keep diving deep, keep questioning, and keep building that dream, whatever it may be.